Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the XoneBros. Thank you very much for being here. It's good to be here. It's good to be hanging out with you. It's the end of the week, the end of a long work week for many of us, the end of an era. As always, I'm joined by the bros. This is podcast number 362. First, it's Mr. McSpicy.
Hello.
George the man is also here.
Hello.
They're both wearing green shirts, and I'm wearing purple. And I'm X1. Welcome. Thank you very much for thank you guys.
Thanks for pointing out our
Thank you. For
attire.
everybody that has joined us live over on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps the show. For those of you that are listening in your car, drive safely.
Pull over and hit that like button.
Pull over and hit that like button. Let's jump right into it. One of the coolest stories that I've ever seen with the Xbox was the Xbox Easter egg that dropped on the original Xbox 20 years later that was unveiled. Are you ready for this? A developer unveiled it after 20 years. It was never found on the original Xbox. And what happens is if you go in to the redeem a code screen, or maybe it's when you enter a disc. Anyways, somewhere where you can enter in a code, you enter in Timmy, Tim, with all the Y's until the end, ! And when you do that, it's an Easter egg, and it pulls up all of the credits of the people who worked on the Xbox.
Oh, the original one.
On the original Xbox. And you can do this on the original Xbox. Now, this just got unveiled at the 20th anniversary, and the developer that talked about it, it's never been found. Nobody's ever discovered it. I mean, why would you? That's so random to do.
I don't know how you accidentally type in.
He said...
No, I would think with a one like that, Timmy, you're out there. You probably would have tried to put your name in on redeem something.
Yeah.
Surprise, Timmy. The Timmys of the world did not come through for us.
The developer that unveiled it said, I decided to share as it's been 20 years, and I thought it would be cool if people knew this actually existed. He said, I also thought if I didn't do it now, it would never likely happen. It had been so long, I couldn't even remember the trigger. I had to connect the Xbox up and try out several things to be sure. Incidentally, Seamus Blackley, the designer of the original Xbox, he said that he wasn't aware the Timmy Easter egg before the website brought it to his attention. According to the designer, there's at least one last surprise Xbox fans haven't found in the software of Microsoft's nearly 20-year-old console, but he wouldn't reveal how to trigger it. That's awesome.
Funny. That's funny that he's like, I didn't even
know that one was there. I know about this other one that no one's found yet, but I didn't know about that one.
They're sitting there like all the original. He put that in there?
Yeah.
What an a-hole.
That is cool. I think that's one of the coolest Easter eggs. The fact that you don't talk about it.
Nowadays. So he was obviously one of the engineering people on the original Xbox. Nowadays.
Yeah.
Like with the current consoles, how hard do you think it is for a single developer or engineer to put an Easter egg without the quality assurance team finding it? You know what I mean? Like how?
Hey Jim, we saw what you did there.
They call you.
Yeah, bring a box and get your things. You're out of here.
You're out of here. We don't do that.
We do not make cool things like that.
Well, what's so cool about this is it was a single developer and no one else knew.
Yeah, that's what's so cool.
It's almost like the old. What was the very first Easter egg in the old Nintendo game? What was it? Pit? No, not Pit. What was it? It was in the very first Easter egg.
Oh, the dungeon one?
Yeah, where you have to explore off, and then it goes to the developer's name, and it's a credit.
It's an Atari one.
And it was cool because
Pitfall? Was it on
no,
Pitfall?
no, it wasn't Pitfall. I don't know why I think of that one.
It's the only one that I really
But it was
played.
cool because no one knew except him.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is cool.
That reminds me. You remember the arcade game, the arcade version of NBA Jam?
Yes.
So there was a team, the team that built that game. I believe they lived in Chicago, but the head developer lived in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
I believe at the time, and he hated the Bulls bad, but his whole team was there. So he actually put in the code that if the Pistons, if they were playing the Bulls, that if it's the last minute, the Bulls can't make a shot.
That is hilarious.
He was obviously a Pistons fan.
It might have been the last
fan.
30 seconds.
That is hilarious.
But he did that without the other team knowing.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
and it's in the game.
Yeah,
it's a breaking thing for if you're head to head, the Bulls will not make a shot.
Yeah, I'm really not sure that you could do that now. There's probably software that scans it and says, alert, alert, what is this?
Well, there's so many the thing is like when they put in an Easter egg, it's like a team of people that know. Like for example, the what was it? The Master Chief riding a scorpion. Like I'm sure like all upper management knew about that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
It's a design.
There's
Easter eggs. I feel like nowadays Easter eggs are design decisions, not necessarily Easter eggs. You know?
well,
That make
it's
sense?
cool to have like a hint, right? I think it's cool.
I don't know. I think it's cooler finding out about it this way.
The hint that if you're a developer and you play the other guys on the team and they can't win because they won't make a shot, like every shot will miss.
I
That
bet
would be
you.
and the dunks.
I
and
bet
everything.
you. I bet you. Like someone that he didn't like working with was a Bulls fan.
No, they
And
all
he-
were. It bugged him. Like that's the thing. His whole team making the game, but he was the boss. I can't remember
And
the
so
name.
they're
Sorry,
playing,
everybody.
They're playing,
The
and
whole
they're all
team
they're
that
playing
make-
like an office tournament, and they're like, he's good, man. The last
How's
30
this guy
seconds,
winning?
he keeps coming back. The
It's
last 30
clutch.
seconds.
You can look it up. This is a very true thing. And so he made it because he hated that they were Bulls fans. He hated it, and so he actually put it in the game. So if you ever had a head-to-head tournament and you were the Bulls and someone else was the Pistons, I'm sorry, you lost. That's just how it is. So
Yeah.
Adventure was the Atari game.
Oh, that did that?
Adventure, yeah.
Very cool.
So, no, I think this is a cool Easter egg, and I can imagine all the people looking for that second hidden one.
yeah.
it's not gonna happen though. No one's like. Do we actively have our OG Xbox?
Well, but now that he let it out, people will be searching
Looking,
for
yeah.
stuff, and I wonder if there's software programs.
Maybe
that
it was a marketing thing to get
Yeah.
to get sales for the original Xbox or something.
probably, yeah.
No, it's really cool though.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a super cool Easter egg. With that, we also have E3 hype. E3 is just around the corner. E3 is what is it? June 7th. It's like the Saturday
It's
to
in
Monday.
June.
It's like June 7th. I'm sure we could look it up. But with that, we did get some news about E3, about Microsoft E3 coming at us from Windows Central and a couple other places about what we can expect not to see. So
That's good.
one of the things we're going to find out
Bring
about
the hype.
Well, we're going to find out about a Starfield, but I believe it was Jeff Grubb who released or said, "Hey," on Twitter. My sources are telling me that it's not going to release this year. It'll be released Q1 of
Remember?
2021.
Remember that's what I said.
2022.
2022.
Remember
yes.
that's what I said. Early 2022.
Early 2022.
Looks like my sources are correct as
your
well.
sources are correct as well. Whoever you've been talking to,
I have people.
they know their stuff.
I have
So that's a
people.
little bit disappointing because it would have been cool to get that before Christmas time, especially to see it at E3. We'll probably see it at E3, but we'll get it Q1, which is no big deal.
Well,
I mean,
and it's-
Q1
and
is
it's-
January, February, March. So.
It is valid to say that this is not anything confirmed or not confirmed, right?
neither
I mean,
confirmed
we
nor
could
denied.
still get it at
Yeah,
the
this
end
is
of the
just
year.
a
It is
rumor,
just
but it
rumors.
does seem likely. I mean, a lot of places are talking about it. The other one is that Elden Ring. A lot of people were excited. We're going to see Elden Ring on the E3 stage. Well, it looks like Elden Ring won't be on the Xbox stage for E3, which means it's unlikely that From Software's latest RPG will even be at E3. That's the rumor now, that they might not
Yeah.
even make an appearance. Apparently, they've just got their heads down, working hard to finish the game, and it is coming by the end of the year, or that's what they're trying to do. Or no, Elden Ring is a Q1 2022 release as well. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so they're in crunch mode.
Yeah, this one's
Crunch time.
interesting because we did get a lot of good evidence that it would be there, because that they're gearing up for like the release schedule because they got the new marketing material, all that stuff, right? So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then we have Hellblade. Now, Hellblade inspires me. Like, it's such a good game. And it's kind of fallen under the radar. Remember we saw it in November? We saw the trailer, and like it's more intense. It's more awesome. It's more of the same. Cool Viking crazy lady who's kind of hot in a crazy way.
yeah.
Lore. And we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything about it. That was the trailers, Spicy.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Yeah, it's in like a weird.
That weird format, like
yeah,
the
weird
widescreen.
format. I was trying to find a better one. Oh, I'll throw it up.
Anyways, we'll probably get a developer update on it, but we're not going to see it officially on the quote-unquote Xbox stage this E3. So a lot of people are disappointed at that because we haven't heard anything in a while. It would have been cool to see gameplay. What are the new features? Where does this go? But it's not here. So I have a theory that there's these big games, and that's like kind of like disappointing news to hear these things. But I actually don't think it is. I think we're going to see new IPs that we don't even know about. I think we're gonna see
Well, I mean,
ones that we already know about. Halo.
You also still have a like Halo, Fable. You still have a.
You've got
Forza.
Halo, Fable, Forza, Avowed.
Avowed would be a good
Yeah.
one to see some actual gameplay in that.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think that would be this? Did the trailer give us a release date?
it just gave us a skeleton underground hammering at something.
No, but did it give us a release year? Did it say 2021?
I don't know. I don't think it did.
Because that would be a big one.
I don't
for
think
this
it did.
fall.
Look at Hellblade though. Like, look at the game's so good, so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, but E3, Jordan, we talked a little bit about it last week. E3's coming up. We'll build up the hype each week until E3 is here. Jordan, disappointed by not seeing these games, or like me, I'm actually more excited because I think we're going to get unveiled. Remember Perfect Dark too? We might get to see some Perfect Dark.
That'd be awesome.
But I think we're going to get to see something that we don't even know exists right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are all rumors, so we may see these games.
Yeah, we may not.
So we may not. You
No,
never know. But I do think I think we're gonna see something with Starfield. I don't think we're necessarily gonna get it this year. I think it'll be a January, February release game.
Yep.
But I think we'll see something.
Yeah, no,
Starfield.
No, I think we're going to see something, but
and I would venture
it's
to
not
say
the rumor is that it's not releasing this year. So.
I would venture to say I think we'll get a trailer, and I would maybe some small gameplay, and then a release date of like maybe
January,
mid-February.
January 1.
I feel like it'll be a Valentine's release date.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Loving the universe.
Yeah.
Loving the stars.
Yeah. No, I think a January, February release date, and I think we see at least a trailer minimum, and at the most we get maybe a little bit of gameplay.
Okay.
Todd Howard rides on stage with his
On a
Harley.
horse. On a horse with
On
no
a
shirt.
horse.
A
Yeah.
unicorn because it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And he gives
Romancing the nebula.
He gives a little presentation or something. But
Yeah.
I think we at least see something about Starfield. Elden Ring and Hellblade, I honestly have no idea. I hope we see Elden Ring because I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls lately, and I'm just kind of in that mood
Yeah.
to see a new type of game.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see updated Halo gameplay to hopefully ease the minds of that last gameplay trailer we saw.
Which I don't think was bad.
No, I don't think it was
necessarily.
bad either.
It had definitely had the Halo feel. It just graphically didn't look what you expect from a next generation marquee game.
Yeah. I think we'll see some Halo, and I think Halo will probably be the big
The focal point.
holiday.
The
Holiday.
The Fall-a-day.
Fall-a-day.
I was trying to say fallen holiday.
Oh, trademark that phrase.
Fall-a-day.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is.
The Fall-a-day.
I think Halo will be the big holiday game this year.
Okay.
I think it'll be the one coming out, and I think it'll be their main focus.
Spicy,
which makes sense.
Spicy, anything that you're really looking forward to that really stands above it all for E3 on the Xbox stage?
Well,
for me, it's the unknown. The unknown is what excites me.
the
Into
great
the
unknown.
unknown.
Into the great unknown
Yeah, that's-
of E3.
That's
Yeah.
honestly, that's what excites me. The great unknown.
Well, every year I just get excited about games. That's what I'm excited. I'm excited for the excitement, David. You know that?
Yeah.
I'm just excited to be excited about gaming.
Hey, you know how we've planned? So one thing that we've planned behind the scenes, guys, is we've wanted to do like this gaming retreat where we go get a cabin somewhere and we retreat for a week. E3 is over a weekend.
You want to do that?
Yeah, we should do it for E3.
Didn't we technically do that when we went to E3?
You know, we did.
It was just
But
instead
we
of a
didn't-
cabin, it was a modern hotel.
Yeah, no,
With terrible internet.
But this time it's not it's not in person, so
But they did deliver.
they did deliver.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We got Tony Burger.
Oh, baby.
Not Tony Burger. What
Tony's.
is Tommy?
Tommy's.
Tommy Burger. Tony's his brother.
Yeah.
Tony Roma. Tony Roma was like, "I'm tired of you.
You know what,
I'm
Tommy?
tired of your chili burger. I'm
Tommy,
changing my name to Tony,
I'm going to Tony's.
and we're doing ribs."
ribs. So you can just suck it.
Or it was vice versa. Tommy was like, "I am tired of your snobby ass high-end ribs and onion rings.
People just want chili.
I'm going to downtown LA and I'm opening up a burger stand and we're just putting chili on it. See how you like that?"
Oh, man. And we'll never close. We'll close ever. It'll always be open.
We'll always do
24/7 chili.
Yeah, so anything that you're super excited for though, Spicy? Unusually or
Well,
maybe
it's of what we haven't talked about. I'm
just
excited
anything.
to see the new IPs.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm gonna get real excited for all the hype that's gonna be about the Bethesda stuff. All the purchasing that's happened has been crazy this year.
Yeah.
I don't think we will. But how cool would it be if we saw a little Indiana Jones from Machine Games,
Okay, all right.
which is a part of that Bethesda deal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to see Microsoft's, what they're going to do to show why these were good purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that they're going to definitely highlight that and show that. And I still have to adjust my mind because whenever you say Bethesda, I always think, the Bethesda stage. No, which is always a rock concert.
Yeah.
So
is
is Microsoft going to bring in a rock concert?
I just want games. I just let the other people do all the
Well,
fluffy
Remember
stuff.
that dude? That dude went hard.
The thing is,
on stage.
I don't like concerts at the game conferences unless they're like after the show.
Unless
but
the dude goes hard.
Yeah.
the dude is playing to people that don't care.
Yeah.
And he does not care that they don't care.
Yeah.
And he is into it.
I would say the best concert other than the best concert was that Bethesda concert because he was so into it and the crowd was not, but he didn't care.
It reminded me of the old Chuck Berry concert. Like this, go watch it. It's awesome when he's playing one of the first gigs that he's on TV.
And no one's ever seen.
And the audience is just all proper, and they're all sitting there like looking around.
Like, what is this?
Chuck Berry is just shredding that guitar, going all around. Woo! That's like what that Bethesda was.
It was
like.
entertaining because of the reaction of him.
Pull it up. Do Bethesda concert. What year was that? Was that 2019?
2018, I think.
Was that our first one?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I
it
don't
might
know.
have
Yeah.
been. I think
I
it was.
I'll
think
see
if-
what
I
I've
think
got.
if
Let me
you're
see if
gonna-
I can find
I
it.
think
think
if
it
you're
is.
gonna do a concert at your show, you got to do it like BlizzCon. BlizzCon does it on the last day on the closing night. You know what I mean? After every because like
Or Mongolian rock throat singers.
Hey, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Dude, that's how you party.
yeah.
Okay?
Like I said, other than that one guy at the Bethesda concert, I'm usually not that a fan of concerts at game.
Other than that one. Yeah, what's is it Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, they
Always the worst.
because they're doing like the Just Dance, and I know there's a lot of people that like that game, but for some reason it just bothers me when like a guy dressed up as a giraffe comes out and dances on stage.
You know what you need? To learn to have more fun.
I know, I do.
Oh, that's him. There he is.
There
Yes,
he
the
is.
2018.
Yeah. Okay, it was
Bethesda
2018.
E3. So for those of you listening, we're just going to give you a little sample of what the sound. Now imagine. So the guy comes in.
Here, I'm going to pull this up. This one's only like 40 or 50 seconds, but he just starts rocking.
So the guy comes in. The Bethesda people, they're just sitting there in their chairs. And he's got a cut off white shirt, white jeans, long hair, and look, he is just.
Having the time of his life.
Turn it up a little bit here. Let's
Well,
give people listening a sample
It's because
here.
he's so excited. No one in the crowd is excited, but he doesn't care that they don't care.
Like the crowd,
Look, yeah, you're at a con. It's just
and look, he's at his piano, playing right now, keyboards.
This was an awesome show to watch,
Yeah.
just to see. I don't know what we're. This is somebody's. But
And we came to party. There we go. Yeah, it is. For those of you that don't, just go search the 2018 Bethesda E3 experience,
it makes me laugh.
and that concert is hilarious. That's how you got to be. If you want to rock, you've got to rock hard.
You rock.
regardless of if anyone else is rocking around you.
One great
don't
rock
care.
show can change the world.
That's true. That is true.
And
That
that
is
guy
true.
lived that. You can't, have a rock and roll lifestyle
Okay.
if you don't live a rock and roll lifestyle.
So I changed my mind. I want to see a rock show where it's going to be awkward because there's not really an audience there at this time, but he's just going to town. That's what I want to see on the Xbox.
No, I just want to see games, David. Let the other people do the little trumpet solos
Yeah.
in between every
Oh yeah, the PlayStation.
honk. And that one was that the same year? That
It
wasn't
was.
the same year.
I think it was.
No, that was
because
the next year because I think this year, 2018 E3, PlayStation crushed it. It was the next year that they didn't do good.
Well, because was it the?
I can't remember, but there was.
I think it was the one where they went from like pavilion to pavilion, right?
Yeah, that was terrible.
And everybody was
Yeah,
so
that was
confused.
That was the last E3 we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty
And they had the
bad one.
And
then the guy.
drummer.
No, it wasn't last. It wasn't the last E3. I don't know because it was whatever. Because remember they had the flute guy advertising Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah,
and everybody, it was just kind of like, okay,
Dude, this flute guy can go to town.
Yeah, the flute guy went to town, but it was just it was
So outside of that, that's E3. E3 is just around the corner. Very,
E3
very
is
excited.
great. Like, look at the stories we have.
Yeah.
Of failures and greatness.
I hope it comes back in person, live somewhere, and I hope they move it from LA to Las Vegas.
that would be nice.
If it's in Las Vegas, I'm there every year. No questions asked. I love Las Vegas. Las
Who
Vegas,
doesn't?
Nevada.
It's America's playground.
It's America's playground.
In the middle of the desert with no like water supply.
Oh man. But let's talk about a couple games that we had a chance.
How does Vegas exist? Like seriously.
Yeah, like what was it founded by? I don't know.
Yeah, how can it support and for that matter, how does LA exist?
Well, there's California steals all its water from everyone else.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can steal it, then I guess that's
Well,
cool.
they pay other people.
I think they do electricity from everybody else too.
Yeah, they do everything.
Because it's really in the middle of nowhere. Like
Yeah,
it is
Vegas
and
is-
Nevada.
But there's some big lakes around there.
That's true.
There's some big lakes.
But Nevada is an interesting place because I've driven through it many times. And right when you hit the border of like Oregon or California, it's like lush and green.
It's like rain.
But-
It's like there's something about that border.
but
It
the
stops
border
rain.
stops all vegetation. It's like
Is it the Sierras that you go through though?
I
think
have
they're
no
on the
idea.
other side of the Sierra.
all I
Sierra
know
Mountains.
is there's nothing in Nevada. There's a reason. Isn't that where they did like nuke testing?
Brian F says,
No, I think so.
don't ask
Area 52. Or
Don't
Area
ask
51?
questions about Vegas. What happens there stays there.
No, that's
Yes,
true.
this
Very
is
good,
true.
Brian.
This
Very
is
good.
true.
Yeah.
So we did have a chance to play some games this week.
Mm-hmm.
We had a chance to play Mass Effect, the Mass Effect
Yeah.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Now I want to start with Jordan, and then we'll go to Mark because Mark is you're like the fine wine connoisseur. They're the Mass Effect connoisseur. You've tasted
Yeah.
it before. Your
Keep in mind, I haven't played this game in like 10 years.
your palate has been acclimated. No.
And I have started playing it again.
Yeah. Jordan, tell me, what did you think of Mass Effect? How was it?
It's really fun. I'm playing Mass Effect 1 right now.
Oh yeah.
And it's very enjoyable. What it felt like is if you ever played Knights of the Old Republic, especially the first one, because BioWare did the first Knights of the Old Republic, and I think Obsidian did the second one. The first one, it really feels. I mean, I know Mass Effect is a third-person shooter and it's a little bit more actiony, so it's different. But like the core of the game feels really similar to the original Knights of the Old Republic. It feels like it's almost the next evolution or next step of Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Which is obvious because I mean, the same company and they're obvious. They've updated the game, right?
Yeah.
And they have new technologies. But that was my first impression. The feeling I got of playing it felt very Knights of the Old Republic with all the decisions. I mean, a lot of the interface stuff is not the same, but it's similar, like the decision tree and stuff. It's really good. I like it. It's nice to be back in a game that makes you excited to be in the universe that you're in and want to learn more about that universe through its. I mean, just learning about the alien species is fun.
Yeah.
The Prometheans?
Well, I was just talking about all the other ones, like
Oh.
the Krogans, the humans. The humans are like the trash of the universe. It's hilarious. Like
Everybody hates them.
Yeah, and they're just like humans. Yeah, they're
Who are
like
these
they're the
guys?
trash of the universe. Right
They're
now.
like in this game, they're like the new kids on the block, and they're not very liked because we're badass.
Because they're upstarts.
We're cool.
We're
Yeah,
upstarts.
'cause
The
they're
humans
cool.
are cool, and nobody likes somebody who's new to the block that's cool.
Yeah. Dieter Pinklage says the Paragon and Renegade system is the light and dark side system as well.
Yeah, basically you're good and evil, which I didn't know. People were asking me about it, and I was like, I've never played this game, guys. I'm just gonna create my class.
But it
I like
holds.
to, yeah, so-
But it holds its own. It being old, does it show its age?
Yes.
Mechanically,
yes.
to where you don't like that about it, or
No.
or is it charming, or is
No,
it
no,
like
no, no. It definitely
throw up in my mouth? A
The
little bit?
game is definitely no. The game is definitely a product of its time, and I don't. It's hard to hold that against a game because I mean,
What else were they supposed to
I
do?
know,
Might as well
exactly.
Pull up some gameplay of this so I can
Oh,
see
that's
it,
a good
I can
idea.
see what's going on
So
there.
I think I've only played the first Mass Effect, so we're going off of the first one, which, by the way, I believe probably got the most love in the remastered version because it's the oldest.
Okay.
So they did make some changes. I heard they changed the UI to make it look more like 2 and 3 because I guess the original Mass Effect UI was different, but they changed it to make it look more like 2 and 3, so it's more cohesive, I guess. But
And what is this that we're watching? One?
This is 1.
This is 1. Yeah, this is the
it looks-
first.
Now,
It looks-
graphically,
it looks good.
Graphically, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the eye animations are weird.
Oh yeah, people have
Because-
been taking.
And I think that's just how you. I mean, I think that's just the nature of a remaster on a game this old, because it's just, I think you're putting one layer over another essentially, in very basic terms. But anyway. Mechanically, I think graphically, I think the game looks good. You wouldn't necessarily guess that this game was from 2007. Is that when it came out? 2007, so around there. So I think they really did a good job graphically, like with the remaster. It looks good. I like the high frame rate. I like the 4K. It's really nice. You have on the Series X, you have graphical options that can prioritize resolution or frame rate. Mechanically, it does feel odd.
What feels odd about it?
It's not like terrible. And again, I think this is just a product of its time. So it's a third-person cover shooter. Going into cover, I have learned, is kind of important because, you don't get shot.
That's what it's there for.
But the going into cover, it's not like Gears of War where you tap A to go into cover. You go up and it auto-covers.
Okay.
Sometimes.
So, yeah, that's actually a good point. Sometimes. So it's not perfect. The other thing is and this is again because of modern games, mostly because of Gears of War, I find myself wanting to like jump roll, like dodge roll.
Sure.
And I can't do that either.
Oh, okay.
It's a limitation. Now, from what I've looked at and from what people have said, in 2 and 3, that stuff gets fixed. Like cover is a proper third-person cover where you actually hit the A button to go into cover and come out. It's much better, which is great. And again, I don't necessarily hold that against this game because this came out probably the exact same time as Gears of War, which Gears of War did have the better cover system, but I mean, I think Gears of War innovated in that way.
Sure. There really wasn't anything before those games.
Whereas this game, I don't think is necessarily focused on a cover system where Gears of War was. It's more focused on the RPG elements, the story choices, and all that. And that's probably the best part of the game right here. Talking to different characters, bringing different characters into your party, wooing different characters, which I've already started doing.
Oh yeah.
Which the character we're looking at right now, that's Ashley.
She's giving me some looks. Learning more about those specific characters, doing their side quests, exploring the world, the RPG elements, the character dialogue, and the choices you can make, I think is the shining star of this game.
Now, are you glad? Because everybody tells me just go to number 2.
Well, because 2 is so good. That's why I say it.
Yeah.
Are you glad you're starting with?
No,
number 1?
I'm glad because I feel it gives me a foundation of the game, and a lot of these characters carry, from what I understand, maybe not all of them, but I do know of at least one of them that carries over to the next games. So I feel like it's nice that we can build that relationship in the first game, get to know them.
Get to know you, Tom.
Yeah. Well, and it sets up the story. I feel like
if they don't die.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Well, see, that's the other thing. If a character dies, I have that emotional tie to them. I care more about their life or death by playing through the first one than I would if I just skipped to number 3 or But I like it a lot. Like I said, mechanically it's a little outdated, but again, I think that's just a product of its time. I don't necessarily hold it against it. It is a little weird at first.
Can you switch shoulders?
No.
See, that
The
would
other-
bother me.
The other thing I don't like, and I don't know if this is fixed, I don't like how close you are to the character when you're in the combat mode.
Well, because right here, that's bothering me that I can't because it becomes automatic at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That okay, and he's not switching shoulders because he can't.
And from what I've heard, it sounds like this game, it sounds like they refined the combat system in 2 and 3.
Okay.
So, but
Now,
as a remaster, I think well done.
Spicy, how are you liking it? And did you start on 1 or did you go straight
I'm
to
going
2?
through 1.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
going through. I'm trying to stay up with Jordan so we can play it
Yeah,
together.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
nice. I like
when
that.
you play a single player game at the same time, it's like you're
Yeah.
playing co-op.
Yeah.
And it's fun to talk to Jordan with all the characters that he's introduced to his party. And then I'm like, I can't tell him this, but I can tell him this. Talking about the Krogans, which I think is one of the coolest races in the game. And the there's a lot of cool things. Just like Jordan said, it's a really good game to just dive into the universe and learn what's going on. And Jordan called it, you called it like it's a third-person shooter. And I kind of want to consider this game a third-person story listener.
yeah. There is a lot of dialogue.
There's
a lot of talking.
Way more dialogue than your standard third-person shooter. It is a game that is about... It's actually... I find it very enjoyable. Other people, I don't know if they will or not. But I like learning and doing quests that... There's a lot of quests that are just dialogue. Mm-hmm. You know, to learn and then to discover and then to go do things for certain people that don't require any combat whatsoever. It's one of the reasons I like this game. That's really unique to this style of game, and Mass Effect was one of the first ones that did it very well. You find yourself not caring that you just spent the last 2 hours in the space station talking to everybody. And exploring and learning about...
Yet still feeling like you're progressing.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and you can... By talking to these people, you don't know if they're going to be in your party or not, and wow, that's awesome. Join my party. Let's do this. And I don't know. I really like this game. I'm very biased towards this game, the series though, so... Yeah.
Duro in chat says that he recommends you play number 1. It's the building of the foundation of the story and the universe are necessary, and it all happens in one.
And see, and that's true. Like I try not to tell Jordan a lot of the things that take place in the other games as well, because they're very. If you haven't played it, there are very good surprises that you didn't know. Actually, like I was talking about the Krogans. There's a lot of backstory about that whole race, and you learn that, and it's really cool.
Even the first 15 minutes of the game, something happens, and you're like, "Oh, whoa, yeah, whoa." Well, another thing. So Mark said you talked about it's a dialogue listener.
Yeah, third-person story listener. Half the time.
That being said. And I mean, I usually don't really talk about this when it comes to games, but this game, the voice acting, top notch,
very good,
really well done. And there's a lot of familiar voices in there. You'll recognize a few actors. Blippy, yeah, this is where you got to start.
There's actually, there's voice actors from Rick and Morty you'd recognize.
Yeah, the commander, I can see him in my head. The voice actor, the commander, what's his name? He's in a lot of movies. Anyway, but. No, the voice acting is really well done.
That's cool. So, that's cool. You guys make me want to play this.
And it kind of has to be because of the importance of the dialogue.
This is one of those games, if you're so used to Call of Duty, PvP, adrenaline, field rush, and you need a break for a game.
And a game where you build your character. Like an RPG in the truest sense of the words, right? Like this is...
a sci-fi RPG, which I really enjoy that, universe. But it's a good... palate cleansing game. Yeah. It's just nice to relax and. Did you just pause it?
Spoiler.
Oh yeah. Good. Good
call.
Jordan is on top of it. Whoa! We're watching gameplay and Jordan just saved.
He just hit the space bar.
And it's a big one, even though it's in the first 20 minutes of the game. It's like whoa. So, anyways, nothing much more to add than what Jordan's talking about.
I even asked Mark who I should bring in my party because you only get 3 parties, so 2 people in your party because it's you and then 2 people you bring with you, which I think is hard because there's actually 1 character in my party.
Because Jordan, it's a lot easier if you don't carry or worry about wooing people.
Yeah,
but Jordan is specifically trying to take care of business
because her name is Ashley.
Yeah,
and
Ashley Williams.
She gave me a look. And I know that look, So she is automatically forever slotted in 1 slot. I'm always bringing her with me. So she's always there. So that means I only have 1 more slot. And right now it's between Rex, who is a Krogan. And let me give you an example of him. We were on a mission, and we're fighting like this, basically like a mob boss, right? Like this mob guy. So we break into his bar. We go at it. We go into the back, and it's just like the regular workers back there.
Yeah.
And it brings up dialogue options, and you can say, you can choose what to do. Me being like a hero type character, I said, hey, you guys might want to find a new job, right? And they ran away. And the Krogan, his name is Rex.
Rex is a badass.
Looked over at me and said, "It would have just been easier to shoot him." and I thought to myself, that's the kind of advice I need sometimes. You know, like you need that. Like he's awesome. And then the other guy, Garrus, he reminds me of James Bond, not like because he woos a lot of people, but because he's like this. He's not a secret agent, but he's kind of like maybe Jack Ryan is a better, I don't know, but he's basically like this
he's Navy SEAL guy.
CIA Navy SEAL. He comes in, he one shots someone while they're holding a hostage right to the dome. Like it's just this cool character. So I don't know who to bring.
Dieter Pinklage in chat says that he was watching your stream when Ashley Williams gave Jordan that look. Jordan knew at that moment what the game plan was.
Yeah, I don't know if that was one of those weird eye things that we were seeing,
it
but
real.
It looked like a look, and it was like whoa.
That's funny. Well, that's super exciting. Now, one thing before we move on here, we'll move on from Mass Effect, but I don't want to cover like details of the game because we've talked about it 2 weeks in a row. But you did finish Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, excellent.
The only thing that I want to follow up on, still your choice of Game of the Year.
Yeah, as of right now, I think it's Game of the Year. There's a lot of other games coming out later this year, so it might drop to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to drop out of
I
the top
started
3.
it this last week. And I can concur. It is very good. It pulls you in.
If you have played 7, you'll get a lot out of the ending. If you have played all of them, you will get way more out of the last couple hours of this game.
Oh.
You learn a lot about you learn a lot about
things.
About things.
There you go.
It's very well done. Really cool boss fights towards the end. One in particular that whoops. Sorry, I forgot.
Whoa.
I can't touch my mic. Sorry, guys.
What was that?
That was the
gas?
little squeaker.
Yeah, a little squeaker.
A little gassy.
Bless you, Jordan.
Yeah, no, it was my mic stand.
Sure it was. I'm going to open the door.
No, Resident Evil, as of right now, is my game of the year. I think it's very well done. If you like Resident Evil games, I think you'll like this one. I do think this one is a little bit more... I think it's less scary than 7 and a little bit more action-y. It's not like full-on like hardcore action all the time, but it is a little bit more action. I really think they did a good job. I'm excited to see what DLCs they bring out. I'm excited to see where they go next. It's very well done.
That's exciting. I'm just trying to get to ranked on Rogue Company. That's all I've been doing. And
Very nice.
Wait, you're not in ranked yet?
sometimes I'm 2 matches.
No, he's in
away.
ranked. He's placement match.
Oh, placement. Yeah,
I have
you're
2
in
placement
ranked.
matches left. How many did you guys play?
I think I
something?
have like 3 left or something like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually this week it was finishing Resident Evil, and then I got stuck on Mass Effect.
That's
Stuck.
beautiful.
Well, not stuck, but
You take that
Hooked.
back. Okay, there we go.
Hooked is the word he was looking for. Jordan, before we get to questions, you said that Overwatch changed the gaming space forever.
yeah, they're making waves.
They're making
So,
waves in the world.
Overwatch had a big developer diary, developer stream, whatever you want to call it. It shows off some new gameplay of a town called, I believe it's York, which is it's basically New York. But one of the big changes they're making with Overwatch 2. So in Overwatch 2 PvP only, because you know how Overwatch 2 is going to have the single player stuff or the
mode.
PvE modes and stuff, co-op, whatever you want to call it. Overwatch 2 PvP is going to be changed to 5v5 instead of the now 6v6. Now, this change made a lot of waves. I feel like I've heard arguments on both sides, and after looking into a few things here and there, I think ultimately this actually is a good change. But it only time will tell, right? We'll know once we play more, once they obviously do more testing, and moving forward. But what the change is so now we're gonna have 1 tank per team. We're gonna have 2 DPS and 2 support. So that'll be the new paradigm, if you will.
Okay.
But yeah, going to a 5v5 as opposed to a 6v6. Now they did talk about the maps are now obviously changed and designed for a 5v5 experience and a 1 tank experience. I don't know how the older maps are going to work. To be honest, I don't know how Overwatch and Overwatch quote-unquote 2 is going to work in general. I'm still rather confused, and I think 90% of the world is actually rather confused on how this sequel/not sequel/update is going to work.
DLC.
Yeah. So So I don't know. That's why everything, because I tried to look into like what old maps would be, because I assume old maps would carry over, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, what's really cool about this change, and I'll talk about why I like the 5v5, like why as of right now I like the 5v5 change. Tanks, now that there's only one tank and that there's, only one tank as opposed to two, they're making changes to tanks. For example, when it's not just like, hey, this tank has more health, there's going to be changes. For example, Winston, you would think, oh, if he's not partnered with another tank, he would suck. Well, maybe that used to be the case, but now one of his changes is he has his gun that just shoots the electricity, but now he has a long shot as an alternate fire.
Okay.
So which makes him more usable or useful by himself. That's one of the changes they made, and they didn't go through a ton of changes. I think they talked a little bit about Diva and her Matrix, how it's going to be more effective in protecting her team. Something like that, but they're making changes to line up with a one tank meta, if you will. But anyway, I think it's interesting to say the least, and I'm interested to see how it works out, and where they go with it.
So is it just rank that makes it permanent or limited to the 1-2-2 slotting? Or
it sounded like they said quick play and competitive. So that would be both game modes.
Yeah, that's okay.
So
interesting. Well, that makes it so like the Winston change makes it so he's not so dependent on diving, because that guy's basically only, great for taking out squishies and creating space by diving on their line. So this gives him an opportunity to hold space a little bit more as well, I think. So
yeah,
interesting.
And I was watching. It is going to be interesting. After watching, I watched a bunch of different YouTubers, and I read through some of the forums of people being, that like the change, that dislike the change. Some of the arguments I read for not liking the change was hero diversity. They say now that you're minusing one tank, people aren't going to play heroes as much. I tend to disagree with that argument in particular, because I think whatever the meta, I think hero diversity comes from whatever the meta is. I don't think that's. For example, let's take Winston, for example. I'm not saying he does, but if Winston's the worst tank, it doesn't matter if there's one or two, he's not going to be picked because he's the worst tank.
Yeah.
Well,
and the mistake Overwatch made in the past is they made healers and tanks they made tanks be able to do DPS, and then they made healers be able to make sure that those tanks don't die. Mm-hmm. So high health pools with high healing with high DPS means you never even, if you chose a DPS character, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the 3-3. That's when they had the 3 healers, 3 tanks set up, and that's what caused that's what made them do the 2-2-2, because they had 3 years of like professional gameplay where no heroes changed.
Exactly.
And so forcing the slots might create more opportunity for diversity.
I think the opposite. So, and this is just one form that I read. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. We don't know until we actually, this is just demos of developers playing that we've seen, until we actually get our hands on it and the masses start trying, especially the pros, as they start trying out different metas and stuff. And, we'll see, right? I don't think it'll cause less diversity. If anything, I actually think it'll cause more diversity, because with only one tank and changes they are making to some of these tanks, they can synergize differently with some of the DPS and the support, right?
So the problem that arose when they did the 2-2-2, they forced the 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 healers, made it so it was a 10-minute wait time if you wanted to play DPS
They
characters.
are saying dropping down to one tank. I don't know how. I didn't read too much into this part. They are saying this change will make for quicker queue times.
And the reason it is, that's what I was going to get to, is because now there's going to be more games going.
So you're jumping
through the games faster. But I mean, it's one character. I think this is basically what they're doing is they're adding a carpool lane. So it does help, but it doesn't fix traffic.
Another thing that may help with this is it does, and people who play tanks religiously or all the time, or tanking is your thing, may or may not like this, and this I'll leave up to each individual, but it does sound like they're making tanks a little bit more aggressive. So it's more of like that Winston change. He can now be more aggressive because he's
more versatile.
Exactly,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
And it does seem like they're moving tanks to be more of an aggressive role. And again, I may be. It seems that way to me, and that may get some, because let's be honest, the majority of players play DPS. That's why DPS has the longest queue time, because it's everybody's playing DPS.
That's actually what causes the problem. It makes it so I'm less able to play what I want because I don't want to wait 15 minutes in between matches. I got better things to do with my time. So I'm forced to play a healer
or a tank
and I'm not playing the characters that I want to play.
Yeah.
So now, it's less diversity because I'm forced into a slot just because I don't have 15 minutes to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs.
Now, we'll see when it comes out if it does actually lower queue times. Theoretically, it would. So we'll see. Now, also with them making the tanks a little bit more aggressive, that may take some DPS players to want to play more tanks if they're more, because DPS is, I mean, it's not generally aggressive, but usually when you're doing damage, you're a little bit more aggressive. I'm not saying all DPS characters are aggressive, because they're not necessarily. But, I mean, this might cause that. I think it's, like I said, from what I've seen on both arguments so far, I think it's a good change. I think I think the reason they made this change is because of the 2-2-2. I mean, I think they made the 2-2-2 because of there was only certain
because
characters
of the game design.
Yeah, there's only certain characters being made. I think they made this change because of the 2-2-2. So it's just
a Band-Aid after a Band-Aid after a Band-Aid.
So we'll see if this fixes it. I mean, like I said, these new they did talk about these maps being designed around 5v5. For example, there's a lot more spots to take cover because there's less tanks, so you have more spots to take cover on the map.
Okay.
Also, there was one I think it was one of the YouTube channels I was watching. He was talking about in the current way 6v6. At a certain point, shields were just unreal. They were just insane, and they're
crazy.
They may still be.
Well, that's the three tanks. You just get barriers.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this one tank is it's going to bring out different strategies, because if you took a team with an Orisa and a who's the bad guy?
The bad guy?
We called him Jeff Kaplan. He was like Jeff Kaplan's character.
I know Sigma, yeah.
Orisa,
the bad guy.
Yeah, well, he's like a bad guy. He looks like a bad guy.
I know. He's the evil scientist.
Yeah. So if you take an Orisa and a Sigma, and this is what I forget which YouTube channel. I think it was like Your Overwatch. I was watching his kind of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not.
Good channel.
I'm not. I mean, I play Overwatch. I enjoy Overwatch, but I'm not gonna say I'm, a god at it.
Sure.
Close, but not. Anyway. He was talking about Orisa would throw down her shield, and then they'd get rid of the DPS would get rid of it, and then immediately Sigma would throw his, and it would just be this alternating shield over and over again. With the one tank setup, you can't do that. So now you have to rely on different strategies defensively, and it also allows the offensive to be able to push.
Do their job.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, is all I'm saying. I don't necessarily think it's a bad change as of now. The game's not even out. We're probably not going to get Overwatch 2 this year. So who knows? But this is just the big announcement that a lot of people are talking about right now. Another thing they talked about, and again, this just may be perspective of the type of player that you are, is they said with 5 players, it's a lot easier to see what's going on screen, and it's not as chaotic. So therefore,
it'll be a lot easier to follow. Also, if you're watching the pro leagues,
exactly, they actually mentioned that.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably a smaller part of the change. But I mean, if I don't know if that's something you like or dislike. Again, I think that's up to the player themselves. But it would be a benefit, I guess, if you look at it that way.
So let me ask you this. Is Overwatch even on your radar anymore? I mean, I know we're talking about this because you think that they're making waves. But in all reality, I don't hear or see Overwatch anywhere ever.
Well, it's probably because that's the crowd that you're... Not the crowd, but your interests are diverted elsewhere.
No, it's true, but I mean, so for instance, I was just looking at the stats. At its peak, just 2 years ago, 50 million monthly active users. That, as of last November, is down to 10 million monthly active users, which is still huge.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, it doesn't feel like Overwatch 2. There's any excitement for it, and maybe that's just because I
think 80% of the reason there's not that much excitement over Overwatch 2 is because I don't think anybody knows what Overwatch 2 is. And that's because because it's a sequel, but it's not a sequel.
Well,
and it's gonna be free. It's weird. No one knows what it is.
Here's the thing.
And the fact that it's so far out.
Well, let's take a game like Rogue Company. Does Rogue Company? Would you rather play Rogue Company or Overwatch?
I think they're two different games. They're similar in the respect that they're objective shooters, but they're completely different.
But that's fine. But which one would you rather play?
It depends. Right now,
would you rather have a hamburger or pizza?
David? Yeah, that's a hard question. Right now, I would play Rogue Company because it has a new update.
No, but
3 months ago, when Overwatch came out with its new update, I was playing that.
But the thing that I'm trying to get at is, I feel like when Overwatch had its height, there was no other game doing what it was doing.
Yeah.
And that the competition. A lot of competition has taken aspects of what it does, even if it's not the same thing, like a Rogue Company, and maybe has peeled off some of that audience elsewhere. Interests lie elsewhere. There's new, flashier, sexier things on the block right now.
I mean, I think you're right. Players have probably gone to other games like Rogue Company. But if you take 10 million players that are still playing this game and compare it to games like Rogue Company, it's still dominant over
That's true.
those.
No,
you know what I mean? It still has like I still have it installed on my box.
Yeah, because Rogue Company's not at 10 million, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not to knock on Rogue Company. I think Rogue Company is an excellent game, and I hope it continues to grow. Go check it out.
I just don't see. I don't know. I don't know if Overwatch 2 brings back the sex appeal.
Yeah, well, and just keep in mind that you never really were into Overwatch anyways.
No, that's true. I know. I never really was.
On my feed, I see, like, I have made a lot of Overwatch friends playing over the years.
Sure.
And they're still playing them. They're still playing this game. I'm like Jordan. I call it the Blizzard itch. You just go cycle through, and this game will always come back, and it gets in my for a good.
But what I'm asking for you guys then, does Overwatch 2 do anything for you?
Well, like, the thing is it's so far out. Like,
yeah,
I get like we're not going to get it this year.
Okay.
And who knows when we're going to get it next year. I like, for example, this change is big news because it's different. I mean, it changes the game completely. By minusing off that one tank. I think it's an interesting change, and I'm excited to see what happens more, but I'm not going to see this change for like another year and a half at the minimum.
Keep in mind, so that was 10 million, because that's on Overwatch. 10 million they have not reported on since November 2020.
And it's 10 million of a game that came out in 2014.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But as far as Q1 of 2021, Blizzard's total monthly active users over all their games is 27 million. And so Overwatch, that's a lot of that number probably shrank for Overwatch.
Does that include Hearthstone?
Yeah, that includes everything.
Yeah, they're total.
Yeah.
Because
interesting enough,
I think Hearthstone is the best mobile game that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Now, I really do. Like, it's a good mobile game now. Before it wasn't, but now that it doesn't crash all the time, it's
great.
I think it's free to play.
I think Hearthstone is. I think World of Warcraft and Overwatch are probably Blizzard's two biggest ones.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't put Hearthstone in there, although I do think it's a fun and popular game, I do think it's more of a set crowd because of it's a card game. You know what I mean?
I also think the amount of time that they put into that game versus how much money they make.
Time on investment.
The time that they put into that game and the amount of money that game makes. Genius.
Well, actually, chat makes a good comment too. You take a game like Destiny, which is probably in a similar spot to Overwatch, still a good game, still has a big player base, but because it's, I mean, every game has a natural life cycle, right? That's why they come out with updates to get people to come back, you know, and
get them excited to just.
I think chat brings up a good point with Destiny. I mean, I think it's the same. It's similar to Destiny. You know?
Yeah.
When Destiny comes out with their new season, there's kind of that high for a couple weeks.
Well, just because I remember when Overwatch 2 was announced, and then it's like.
Well, even
Jeff
when
Kaplan leaves.
Even when
I
it
don't
was
see anything about Overwatch 2.
Even when Overwatch 2 was announced, I still didn't know what it was, and I think I think they should have just made a decision. Let's make a sequel. not a
Yeah,
sequel that
That's kind
kind
of a
of
sequel?
looks like it's just going to add single-player DLC, but is going to also be free for Overwatch 1 players, but you'll still have to buy Overwatch 2, and there's going to be a new game mode that I think is only in Overwatch 2, but Overwatch 1 can still play. It's a very confusing system. I mean, do you know what I just said?
No, I have no idea.
That's Overwatch 2.
I think Overwatch suffers from. I think it's a harder learning curve to watch.
Well, and
versus
that's
other games.
that's what
maybe-
they're addressing is
Yeah.
they're trying to make it more simple to understand all the complexities that goes
Yeah.
into the fights.
Yeah, like I get the
by
appeal. The
taking
appeal is
taking
like
a character out of it.
like the intense teamwork and then it's playing specific characters very specific way to affect your team and help your team and contribute to your team way more than any other game really relies on that kind of teamwork.
And actually, it's funny you say that. With the 5v5 switch, I think it was the YouTube channel, Your Overwatch. He has a good video describing his thoughts. He said with this change, it may be easier in lower-rated games to basically, if you're a good player, you can win the match for your team type of thing.
Oh, that, and that
You know
makes
what I mean?
sense.
Which, so if you're a good
Which will
player, you know,
help the damn stupid
Elo hell.
ranking
Which, let's
system
be
that
honest,
they have.
90% of players are probably in.
No, I think 95% are within 800 points of each other of the entire player base.
So you'll have to go. I'm not quoting him. You'll have to go watch the video and see what he said. But I feel like he made the point like a good solo player may be able to turn the tide of the battle as opposed to before where he was. So anyway, it's an interesting change. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad. I tend to lean towards I like the change, but we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah. Well, let's take some questions. Let's get out of here with some questions, everybody.
All right.
To submit a question, you can do so each and every single week over at YouTube, youtube.com/X1Bros. Nick Papagiorgio. Sorry, I can't ever say your last name. I apologize. Nick writes in. Wait, I'm going to say it right here. Nick Papagiorgio.
And that sounds good. I think you got it.
Oh, I might have got it. I might not have, though. He says, what's
Papagiorgio.
good, bros? Happy Friday. I'm trying my hand at Destiny 2 as Warlock, and I pretty much suck at it. I've been playing through the game mostly by myself and wonder, is there an easy way to find other players to play the game with? Maybe I just missed it somewhere, but it would be cool to have others show me the ropes. Thanks for all you do. Answer? Yes, we have a really good Destiny community.
Discord
over on XoneBros. In fact, it might be one of our most active channels. A lot of really passionate players who are really cool and will walk you through the game and walk you through raids and help you out. So come join Discord. Join the Discord channel and join the Destiny channel in our Discord. Rather. Great question, though, Nick. Appreciate it. Our other question comes from It's Mint, and he wants to know, we all know how amazing Game Pass is, he says, but are there any changes you would make to Game Pass? He says, for me, I would add the ability to add a game that's scheduled to leave to your personal library, and then it gives you an additional week or month after it's left Game Pass for you to finish it, as long as you've added it to this special place in your library.
That's cool.
Or maybe a voting system where the user decides which game goes. What would you add or change, or maybe just add a feature to Game Pass?
That's a really good question.
That's a really good question.
Maybe I would do like a playlist feature,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
which when I finish a game and I check it off, it automatic. I don't have to do it. I can make this be automatic.
Yeah.
So you can disable this if you don't want this feature, but have it automatically uninstall the game, and then have it automatically install my upcoming game once I'm about like 80 or 90%.
Yeah, that's cool.
Done with the
I
game,
like
because
that.
it can tell by the how far you are along
I like
percentage, and just have it rotate through.
Also, if on that, I'll add to this as a part of that playlist. If any of those games on your playlist are scheduled to leave within a month,
That's a great.
it alerts you. It will let you know. Like
Bumps
pings
that
you.
up automatically.
Bumps it up automatically
in your playlist.
and tells
and
you.
installs
Well, maybe
it.
it gives you a notification this game is about to leave. Do you want to play it?
Yeah, that's good. That's a great one. Yeah, Jordan, beat our ideas now.
No, I think
Go.
that's a good
Fine,
idea.
you want to add it
No,
into that
no, I
playlist?
think
Let's
that's
make
a
this
good
the
idea.
ultimate playlist.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I don't know. What would you add to Game Pass? It's just
More perks.
more Game Pass.
More
perks.
perks.
I
Give me
would
more
add
free
more-
shit.
Give me more free stuff. I love it. I love it. No, great question, It's Mint. Thank you very much for writing in. And our last question is a 3-part question by our one and only Pedro Ramos, a.k.a. Omonstro.
All right.
Omonstro says, I feel like I've lost my identity with the YouTube change, but hey, anything for the bros, because he was Omonstro over on Mixer. Over on YouTube, he's had to become Pedro Ramos.
To change his identity.
You can actually,
just so you know, I mean, this is not that important, but you can easily add another identity.
Yeah, I think
to YouTube, but it complicates things a little bit with the subscription,
especially if you like. Well, I know people like when they work.
You know what YouTube needs to do? Speaking of features, because I have like 15 accounts.
Yeah,
and I would like to merge all of them to one of my accounts, but I don't want to go through the hassle of like resubscribing. And if I want to be able to merge my library, my playlist, my likes all over to another account.
The playlist is big because I have catered for 14 years my music playlist.
Yeah.
I'm not on Spotify. I'm not anywhere. All my playlists that I love my music with is all on YouTube, and it's all on my personal account. And people ask me all the time in this community, can you just share your playlist? And I don't want to reveal what my real account is, you know?
Yeah.
So because I have, I'm a very private person. That would be awesome, YouTube, to just let me just do a lateral over and do the playlist.
Jordan's playing with his microphone again.
Don't, Jordan.
No, I agree with you. So, and the other thing is, the way YouTube algorithm works, people complain about it. It's good. It's bad. It's, for me, it really does know what I want and gives me what I want because it's years and years of me watching videos and
mine doesn't
tailored, and I don't want to start another new one.
I've actually, speaking of that, so we watch a lot of videos during the show that are not necessarily reflect the opinions associated with Mr. McSpicy.
Yeah,
and I'm on my account when we watch videos of the show. My feed sucks because of that. And I've looked it up. The only way to fix that is to clear all data. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
By all data, can you clear your browsing history? You can
That's
clear
what
your
it is.
history.
Yeah, like
you don't want to clear your browsing history because you still have your playlist there, and your liked list is still there.
No,
clear your browser history, but save passwords.
No, no, because I'll be sitting doing something. I'll be like, "What was that one video I saw like a year ago?" Oh yeah, it was that one, and I can actually search through my history and find videos.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
once I make that commitment, it's gone. I can't.
That's true. Back to Omonstro, a.k.a. Pedro Ramos. He says, long time since I've said hi, and I have a couple questions for you, so here it is. Number 1, have you checked out Hired Gun? Is this some kind of Doom with a dog as a best friend?
Let me pull that up. We watched that.
Answer number 1, Hired Gun, looks to me like Doom mixed with a Wolfenstein, a Rage 2, along with a dog. Like you get a war dog as your companion.
I think it looks freaking cool.
For those of you who have not seen and you're listening, you've not seen the Hired Gun trailer, go look it up. Just YouTube, Hired Gun. It looks really good. It looks smooth. It looks fast. It looks zany and crazy. And then...
what if John Wick was the Slayer? That's kind of the vibes.
That's a really good way to put it. With a dog that you can...
that doesn't...
mount up and go to war with. And it looks like kind of an RPG system in there with
there's like some upgrades and customization on your dog.
What do you guys, Jordan, what do you think of this game?
I think it looks cool. Coming from Doom Eternal, which I think was a fantastic game.
Oh, you just beat that like 3 weeks ago.
Not too long ago. This looks like, I mean, it looks smooth too, and that's the important part about these types of game. If the gunplay is not smooth, I think the game will not be good. But according to this trailer, the gunplay looks smooth. Hopefully it feels smooth and works smooth when it comes out. But it looks cool. I'm going to get it.
Yeah. I
think June 1st is this game.
Question 2, or number 2, second part of his question. We'll go with McSpicy with this one. McStiley. Is the Ascent going to replace that hole that Cyberpunk left in our hearts?
Let me pull that up.
Still enjoyed it for some parts, he says. But the Ascent does have a very Cyberpunk feel. Is it going to fill that hole for you, Spicy?
I mean, I hope so. But they're very different looking game. Well, not looking. I mean, it is like in the
it's
cyberpunk. That's the vibe you're going.
art style.
That's the skin over the top of the game. This looks like a Diablo twin stick shooter. That's kind of what, and I love that.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to fill a hole in my gaming.
It's filling something.
It's going to be there. So, no, I mean, you have to bring up Cyberpunk. When we still don't have a date for the next gen release.
I'm
End of the year.
waiting for next gen.
Yeah.
I'm
There's also going to be a Witcher 3 update for the next gen as well.
oh, nice.
Hey, actually, we all played Cyberpunk enough for this point. Cyberpunk did its quote unquote tutorial zone. Remember last week we talked about tutorial zones and how like Valhalla brought it up. Just too long. Some of them are too long. I feel like Cyberpunk did theirs correctly.
Yes, yes, I do. I do think that was actually a hindrance to one of the parts of the game, though, because as advertised, it felt like your life path would be more important than what it was. And your life path was basically your quick tutorial mission.
Oh.
And then you got a cutscene that felt like probably should have been gameplay.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the Cyberpunk open world, which is not. I mean,
I like that cutscene.
No, yeah, the cutscene was funny, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like the tutorial section, I agree was a decent length.
You called it. You're basically
what I'm criticizing is the tutorial is basically the choice of your life path, and your life path is basically like the first 30 to 50 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your life path does carry out throughout the whole game, but the origin of your life path is probably the first 30 to 50 minutes of the game. And as advertised, it felt like life paths were going to be a lot more in depth, and I don't think they were. And that cutscene that you get at the end of the quote-unquote tutorial mission, it almost felt like was this supposed to be gameplay? Like, were we supposed to go through all this stuff that we're seeing in the
that's a good point.
Were we supposed to go through all this
stuff?
stuff?
And then they just rushed it through.
Yeah, so yes, I agree with you, but also I think that it hurt the life path.
No, it really did.
But I agree. I don't need a 4-hour tutorial on a game where pulling the right trigger
did a good job.
Is the primary.
They did a good job of getting you in the action right away, I think, and into the story.
Yeah.
But they look at a game like Mass Effect, where it's still a great game regardless of what you choose, but you can go a million different directions.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is why do we need tutorials?
I don't think we do. I think you get
let's
rid
be honest.
of all tutorials.
You just said it with Mass Effect. There's not really a tutorial in Mass Effect. You have that first planet, which is maybe an introduction to combat,
which tells you B does this, right bumper does this. Oh, that's what a controller is. This is where the buttons are.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's play the game.
Same with Skyrim. Skyrim, no tutorial.
No, yeah,
Skyrim.
just that little dungeon that probably said the same thing.
Do you think tutorials break immersion?
It depends on how it's done. There's some
agree.
good tutorials that are like, oh.
There is some terrible.
And there's bad ones.
Do you think overall, I would agree, overall, I don't think that we need tutorial, especially in the age of the internet.
No.
Let someone Google it.
Let's be honest. And it's just opinion of how you want to play your game. Dark Souls tells you literally nothing. I enjoy that aspect of the game.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of
causes
people
discovery.
Don't look up Dark Souls stuff because they want to just figure it out. And that's how I'm on that boat. I like to just figure things out. I don't need. Basically, when you go to the Google, you're asking someone to backseat game you. I don't want that. I want to backseat game myself. I want to figure things out.
I'll tell you who tutorials are made for. We had a friend who would sit with us while we were playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
In chat, we're all in chat playing. You do what we do: single player, talk about the game while you're going through single player Skyrim, and ask every "Hey, how do I run? How do I walk? How do I pick up that thing?" And it's like, dude, just do it.
Yeah, just play the game and you'll figure it out.
That's what tutorials are made for.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, to Mark's point, it's fun to discover things. To your point, we can just look it up on the internet.
Yeah, I don't think
the internet is the new game
philosophy.
manual.
Well, I don't need a tutorial.
And, well, okay, for games that are racing, or like Jordan said, you said it perfect. When the primary button is the right trigger, you don't need a tutorial.
And so, what does that entail? Racing games and first-person shooters.
Okay, and if you are going to have, and here's the thing about tutorial, just put me in the main story mission and have freeze it for a split second and say, B is how you do
No,
this
you
special
don't even have to
ability.
do that.
No, I don't think you need to do that. That almost breaks immersion.
Yeah.
When you're in like the
I would agree with
Do
that.
it like Battlefield. Do it as a loading screen tip.
But there's not going to be loading screens anymore. That's the problem.
No, here, let me ask you a question. When Halo Infinite comes out and you jump into Halo's first campaign mission, which will generally be your tutorial, do you need to know that B is to crouch?
No.
Or can you,
Press
as
the
a
buttons?
human being,
Press the buttons.
manage
Pressing the button.
pressing the buttons and figuring it out? I think tutorial levels need to turn more into
Yeah.
like introductory levels.
Rose City Gamer is a great parent. I tell my kids, push a button and see what happens.
That's
Amen.
life.
Well, I actually think gamers are probably at an advantage when it comes to figuring out technological things because we're used to just exploring. Like, oh, we just gotta gotta figure it out, and so there's not this hesitancy that exists for gamers that might exist for non-gamers when discovering new technology.
We're the master race.
We're the master race.
The
gamers.
worst thing that
press
would,
a button.
The worst thing that would happen is you're trying to figure out how to crouch, and they put crouch on a weird button, and you go, "Oh, that's a stupid button."
Yeah,
And then
you
you
just
move
press-
on.
You just press,
and then you remap it
and you
and
just
move
press
on.
start and remap it. Anyways,
So no, I like Halo, for example. Do you think Halo Infinite needs a tutorial?
I'll give you an example. I will give you an example why you don't need a tutorial. My children, I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old. And
That's right, you have 3 now.
Sounds like a joke.
Yeah.
They
They all walk into a bar.
To a bar.
walk into a bar.
Hey, before you go through this, can I just say I like how you're holding your
I
mic
know.
right now. Like,
Look
you
at-
look really
I'm going to
relaxed right
switch
now.
over to
well,
David
You
right
look
now.
like you've been doing this for years. Like,
You
no,
know,
it
look at
legitimately
this.
looks cool. Like, the
Well,
way
dude,
you're
well,
saying.
dude, I actually, as I'm sitting here like this, I actually, after the show, would like to discuss changing our setup because... No, because try it. Go ahead, try it. Someone.
Well, I can't really grab mine because
Go ahead, grab
it might
it.
get loud.
All right,
Yeah,
here we
just
go.
gotta-
See?
Oh, yeah.
Now
We should
I would
just
like
hold
to
it.
suggest that maybe we get some. Yeah, we
I don't
need a
even have to
shotgun
hold
controller.
my mic, David. This is great.
See, and I think we got to probably adjust the height of the cameras here. But I'm enjoying it. This is how I
Let's see what I
discovered
look
it.
like here.
I discovered it early on.
Go to David. There he is. Yeah.
And especially like this. Look at all I need to do is if I'm not interested in
You
like,
look
like,
relaxed.
like your Overwatch conversation I wasn't really interested in.
You left the room.
But
He left the room.
And we'll turn the time over to Overwatch. And he just.
But in order to appear relaxed, all I did was this. Watch this.
For those listening, he just put his hand on the side of his face like he's
like
interested.
like a thinking. Anyway, I just had to say that. Go on with what your 3 kids walked into a bar joke.
No, but I'm serious. I discovered this earlier in the show because I'm just exhausted, guys. And all of a sudden I was like, "Wow, this is nice." And so I think we should discuss.
It's like when
changing
you
things
pulled up the recliner for the first time. You're like, whoa.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get a massage table for me, and I'll just have a mic underneath and the camera looking up to me, and so I can just lay there.
That'd be good. What was it? What were
Your
we
3
talking
kids
about?
walk into
Oh
a
yeah,
bar.
so here
Kids walk into a bar.
Proof that you don't need a tutorial in a game is this. My 3 kids, all under the age of 4, really young. I have never told them how to use the remote control for the TV. Ever. You want to know how they learned? They saw me do it one time, and then they started pressing buttons, and now they wake up in the morning, go to the couch, turn on the TV. They can go to YouTube, find the channel they want, or Netflix or whatever
Disney
show they
Plus,
want,
yeah, all that
all on their own. The 4-year-old and the 2-year-old, and soon to be the 3-month-old. That is proof that we don't need tutorials.
No, I think tutorials need to change into, I will call them introductory levels. And what that means
No, because that's given too much. You give an
Your opinion is wrong, Jordan.
No.
Well, here's the problem.
No.
You give an
No.
inch, they take a mile.
No,
so
no.
like you say, hey, I don't want tutorials. Just give me an introductory level. But that introductory level eventually morphs into tutorials.
No. Tutorial morphs into introductory level. Because what,
Okay,
in my mind, an introductory level is the first level of a game. It's always usually generally pretty easy. Because it's like, there's a guy shooting at me. How do I do? Okay, this is how I do this. So, it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
You still figure it out. That enemy's not going to one-shot you. So by the time you get to level 2, when they do one-shot you, you know how to play.
Well, every game has level progression, so it would just be
Not every game.
just included as level progression. Like that's all that it is. It's just natural level progression.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't think we need 4-hour tutorials. I don't think we need. Yeah, I don't really think we need tutorials in general. I mean, let's be honest. If I can figure out how to play Escape from Tarkov efficiently, from, by the way, loading tooltips, then I don't need tutorials in any game.
Amen, brother. Amen. Great. Oh, Pedro Ramos, he's got another part. He does say he's surprised that people don't talk about Hellblade 2 as much as does. And he says, I think that game will leave a mark on this generation of Xbox exclusives.
Maybe.
I agree with that. I do think that they did something really unique.
Which is probably why we're not hearing about it.
It was also a way, with the first Hellblade, for instance, the first Hellblade was the first time I experienced a game telling a story almost solely through sound. Yes, you went through the game and the game was really pretty and really interesting that way. But the sound, if you don't play that with headphones, the game
don't
sucks.
play it.
Yeah, don't play it. It really, that's true though, really. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Hellblade 2 is, though. I agree with you. And last but not least, he says, when Forza 8 is out, I'm happy to organize some kind of open lobbies now and then to get some people together. Full simulation mode on.
That's dirty.
My goodness.
There's gonna be some lost friendships if you
that is true.
If you go full sim.
Yeah,
there's
that
gonna
first
be some
turn.
lost. That first turn.
Yeah. The trick is to always just hang back just a little bit and watch everybody just crash into the wall on turn one.
Right,
and then you're like, okay, we're good now.
Anyways, Pedro Ramos Anson says, I send big hugs and wishes you all the best. This podcast is 100% part of my weekly routine for about 4 years now.
Oh, thank you.
And just brings me joy. Pedro Ramos. Joya. Thank you very much, El Monstro. We appreciate it.
David, you know how you said you can't do that. You can't do that. You give them an inch, they'll take a foot, you know?
Yeah.
I got to point out that last week you removed the mic arm.
Yeah, that's true.
And now,
now you're
trying to get rid of chairs.
No, I don't want to get rid of chairs, but I want. This is
Give
what I
David an inch, and this is what happens.
No,
Maybe what we should do is
this is what I want. I want so I don't have to turn to look at you guys.
Well, no, what we should do. I just thought of this in my mind.
That's so you want to be facing the wall the whole time?
What if we?
That's rude.
What if we get rid of the table, lower the camera, and we all sit in beanbag chairs?
No, I'm not doing beanbag.
No, I think that might be fun.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, David. Give you an inch. Look at where it's taking us.
We could do some sort of more comfortable chair situation.
I agree. I agree. Although we have these nice.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Beast.
Beast, we love you.
Thank you, Beast.
We also could do something, adjust the camera so we can face each other. I don't know. That's probably more difficult, but. All I know is this will be my forever podcast.
Okay, first of all,
situation.
You guys have no reason to complain. You both look One Direction the entire show.
Yeah, Jordan's the one.
Yeah,
that
I
actually don't because I'm watching the gear too. It's David that's lazy.
Well, the thing is now.
Don't put me into his.
And the thing is now I'm not looking at you guys. It's too hard for me to look over.
It's great. I don't even have to look at you guys anymore.
Well, when I put David on camera, he just stares at himself and smiles.
No, I actually do like the position you're in. It does look very relaxing.
Assume it.
I would, but I can't with the mic. There's no shock mount. So
yeah, when I talk, I lean forward, David. I get into it.
Well, actually, I
want to sit like that, but
I will say because I'm just really tired. Is all.
I know.
And I haven't eaten today, and so I about halfway through the show, I started to lean back, and I was like, "Oh,
whoa,
oh!" Now
where did this come from?
If you want to go to that restaurant we were talking about, we probably should end soon.
Oh yeah, we should, guys. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Oh, I do want to say, I meant to say it at the beginning of the show, and I didn't. We talked about everybody. We talked about. We've been doing live morning shows this week. They're back. However, the way that I've done them, basically what I'm doing is the live morning show is supposed to focus on 1 or 2 news stories a day. Going through it this week, I've realized that's probably not the best format for a live show. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit. It's not going to be live. The same video will drop every single morning. Maybe we'll premiere it so we can hang out together or something. But it'll be the same content, but it won't be live because I just think it doesn't really fit that mode. And everything we're doing to grow. And we are growing, and especially now as things get back to normal, I think people will get back in their routines. Yeah. I think gaming's going to take off, and it's going to be a good time. But look for those daily videos. Come join us over on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. It's a good time.
Also, I mentioned this to people on Wednesday, but there will be no stream this Monday.
Oh, okay.
Because we have some stuff that we're doing. So
Oh, yeah.
So Wednesday I'll always be there, and then I'm just gonna
You
try
will
and
always
I'll always be there on
there.
Wednesdays. But then we'll just try. I'm trying to figure out just a different day throughout the week to do it as well. We might go Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway,
Yeah, we're figuring out this YouTube thing. It's
Yeah.
been a big
It's
change.
like-
You realize we only changed. Oh, actually, it's not going to almost be a year from Mixer.
Yeah, that's true. Like what we're trying to do.
Mixer?
You mean?
Yes, we
Yeah,
changed from
so
Mixer, to YouTube.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do? Go ahead, Mark.
Oh no, it's basically trying to figure out YouTube's algorithm is like playing a game of darts.
Yes.
And we're just trying this. We're trying that.
Well, also, but trying to
And
get the
this-
best, like, because
And
the
the
key
full
is
and
good
the
content.
and quality content. Yeah.
Yeah, but maintain it. Do it in a way that we can maintain it consistently. That's the key. We figured that out with this podcast. We had it figured out with streaming and Mixer, and now we're trying to figure that out for YouTube. So, what can we do to create consistent quality content that enables us to grow and expose ourselves to new people? That's basically our strategy.
Yeah. Good strategy.
Yeah.
The end. See you later, everybody. We've got 15 seconds until we get out of here.
Oh, okay. Here we
Again, hey, thank you guys. We love hanging out with you guys every single week. If you're just one of those people that have us in your ear,
go. Don't be one of those people.
so fun. No,
You're one of those
no,
people.
I don't
Those people
know why
that
I
just-
started laughing. I'm sorry.
you're one of those people that have us in your ear. I'm glad we could be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your ear. Bye-bye, everybody.
Rockin'